Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. Korean sunscreens are some of the most popular on skincare planet Earth, but recently a lot of the big name Korean sunscreens have been pulled from shelves in the US. Some people are labeling this as the Korean sunscreen ban, but there's actually more to it than that. I covered this topic in a previous video where we focused down on the Beauty of Joseon sunscreen, which was the first one to really be impacted. But since then, a lot has happened, so I thought I'd film a second part to this, giving you guys the update and everything you need to know. Sit back, relax, let's talk what's going on with Korean sunscreens. Now, before we get into today's video, I'd of course love to know what your own hot take is, so share your thoughts, feelings and opinions down in the comments section below. This video is a little bit of a departure from our usual content that you see here on Mad About Skin, but I always like to keep you guys up to date with what's going on in the skincare world. If you enjoy this style of content where we talk about the hot topics and everything that's happening, let me know by reaching down and giving the video a big thumbs up and a like. The more likes a video gets, the more widely YouTube will distribute it on its platform, so it just means as many people as possible can hear the real truth behind what's going on with Korean sunscreens, and of course adjust their routines accordingly. So from the bottom of my heart, love to each and every one of you. Now, without further ado, let's cut that waffle and delve straight on in. So today's video, like I said, is very much a follow on from a previous one that I filmed on the channel. I'll dig that out and I'll leave a link up there if you do want to check it out. But today I wanted to go a step further, update you on some new brands which have found themselves impacted by these restrictions and changes, talk about how it's going to impact the wider industry, and of course share with you how it might be possible to get around some of these restrictions and still keep your favourite sunscreens in rotation in your skincare routine. So let's start out with a little bit of an update. In that first video, it was just the Beauty of Joseon sunscreens that were impacted. The brand themselves had said as a result of the enforcement of restrictions in the US, they'd be pulling their sunscreens from market and launching a US compliant equivalent. Well, all of that has now happened. The old style Beauty of Joseon sunscreens are now no longer available for sale in the US, and their new version is now available. Unfortunately, the new version is garbage, absolute garbage. It's a range of tinted mineral sunscreens, and initially it looked quite promising. I like the fact that they had multiple different tint shades, so no matter what your skin tone, there should be an option that you can make work for you. I like the fact that they've put some thought behind the formulation and other beneficial skincare ingredients, and I think it looked promising. Most of the reviews, though, have been very subpar, and my own experience with it is it just balled up and pilled on the skin so bad. You couldn't layer it on top to get more coverage, you couldn't reapply it, it just didn't sit right, and the tint is so sheer, it might as well not exist. I don't know why they bothered with 19 different tints and shades, because none of them actually show up on the skin, and yet somehow it still manages to be a little bit ashy and a bit white casty on the skin. Not a good product, and that's not just me. I think most of the content creators I've seen reviewed it have said, hot mess, not a great product. And I'll find a video that I watched that James Welsh really had a very similar experience. I'll find that video, and again, I'll link it down in the description. So that unfortunately is a bit of a fail. However, the original sunscreens are still available in the rest of the world outside of the US and Canada, and there are some workarounds that I'll come on to later in the video. Well, since that, some other brands have announced that they'll be pulling their products from US shelves. I think the biggest one, which is going to shock a lot of people, is this, the Skin 1004 Madagascar Centella Hyaluronic Water Fit Sunscreen. This is the best-selling Korean sunscreen in the States. I think it's also the biggest here in the UK. People love this product, and for good reason. It is beautiful, feels amazing on the skin, lightweight, gives you that broad spectrum coverage. It's fantastic, but again, is no longer going to be available for sale in the US from the 3rd of March. So Skin 1004 said they'll still be selling until the 3rd of March, which is when it'll stop. And this will actually apply to the whole range of Skin 1004 sunscreens, not just this one, which is the best seller. Also, Cosrx with the aloe soothing sun cream, which again, super popular. They've also announced that they'll be phasing out sales in the US of that product, which I know will come as a shock to a lot of people who have loved this for the longest time. And Round Lab as well, which I think have their popular birch juice sunscreen. They will also be phasing out sales in the UK. So this is definitely turning it into a much bigger thing than what maybe initially we thought, where it was confined to Beauty of Joseon. So all of this actually comes about as a result of an enforcement of restrictions in the US. So these restrictions have actually been around for years, since 1999, so roughly 26 years. However, brands kind of just got away with it not being focused on too much. Around 2 years ago, they started to enforce these restrictions much more stringently, and brands took notice. They don't want fines, they don't want the reputational damage, and so a lot of these are precautionary measures. Now, it also seems to be happening because Korean skincare is so popular in the US, in the world generally, that a lot of the big brands are starting to set up distribution centers in the US. And if you have a physical presence in the US, obviously you have to pay a lot more close attention to these restrictions than maybe they did before when they were just shipping products in. So as a result of Skin 1004, Beauty of Joseon building big distribution centers in the US, it means they can no longer skirt around these regulations the way they used to. They have to enforce them, and that means that their products have to be pulled from shelves. So big disclaimer to say, this doesn't mean that any of these products are subpar. In fact, products like this are far better, in my opinion, than the US approved sunscreens. They have modern filters which provide better protection. They feel better on the skin, so we look forward to using them. They're just better products. However, like I say, legislation in the US hasn't changed since 1999, and so very outdated, meaning better product, new generation filters like this just can't be used. So we're going to touch a little bit on why this matters globally, not just to the US and Canada, which tend to be the countries that are going to be impacted by these restrictions. The US, because that's where the restrictions are based. Canada, because a lot of the big Korean skincare brands actually distribute to the whole North American market from their US base. So this will apply equally to Canada in a lot of instances, as it will with the US, even though they do have different restrictions and legislations in place. Whilst it's really going to be limited to the North American sunscreen market, it could have implications globally because, of course, the US is a huge skincare market, and when brands are unable to access that with a specific product, that product becomes less viable in the eyes of that brand. The sales will fall. They'll start to question, do we really want to still continue? Is it economical to continue to produce it the way that it used to be? Now, I think there's enough demand in the Korean sunscreen market, in Europe, in Asia itself, to keep this momentum going. So I don't think at this point we're going to see products being removed completely from sale in countries outside of North America. However, that's something we're going to have to keep our eye on because, of course, the economics do change if one of your biggest markets is no longer able to sell a product of yours. So we'll keep our eye on that. But at the moment, this should just be restricted to the North American sunscreen market. But even though we might not live there, I'm here in the UK, we still need to keep our eye on that for developments in the future. So I know a lot of people out there are going to be impacted by this and see some of their favourite sunscreens on that list that I just read out. But before this turns into blind panic, don't worry, because there are a couple of workarounds. First of all, most of these brands are going to come out with US approved versions of their sunscreen, but I don't think that's really an effective workaround because, as we saw from Beauty of Joseon, these products aren't going to be great. The old style approved filters that the US want brands to use honestly don't lead to a nice application or a quality product, in my opinion. So I think some of the reformulations that are going to take place just aren't going to have the same appeal that the original products did. I'm happy to be proved wrong if that's the case, but we've seen this time and time again, most recently with the Beauty of Joseon updated formula. It just doesn't work the same. So I don't necessarily think that's a workaround. But the good news is, if you're watching from the US, you can still import product from outside of the US that will still have the same original formulations and that gorgeous lightweight sunscreen finish. Now, the big name Korean beauty retailers such as Starvana, Yes Style and Olive Young have said that they will still be shipping these products to the US in the immediate term. They are going to review it and that might change, but at the moment you still should be able to shop on those big name retailers and have the products sent to you in the US or Canada, wherever you're based. Now, if that changes, I'll of course let you know, but that's a key workaround. And there are lots of brands outside of the Korean sunscreen market which are still shipping to the US with these new generation filters and lightweight technology. Of course, when I created my own brand, this is the Mad About Skin Protect and Hydrate Sunscreen. This formula we ship to the US. It uses new generation filters. It comes in 100 ml, so you get a lot more product than in a traditional Korean sunscreen. And this is going nowhere. If you're watching from the US or Canada, you can still get your hands on this. We'll ship it to you and you can still use it, getting that broad spectrum protection, that lightweight finish, without having to resort to some of the old style sunscreens. Now, to kind of help you guys along, I'm all about trying to pay it forward and help people, especially when it comes to sunscreen, which I think is a non-negotiable in a skincare routine. If you want to get your hands on this and have it shipped to you, I've actually included a free shipping code down in the description box below. If you use that code, the shipping will be completely free of charge, no matter where in the world you happen to live. And so you can get your fix on new generation quality sunscreen without having to pay the shipping cost. So that's just my little way of saying thank you for all the support you show me here on the channel and helping you guys with your sunscreen journey. So overall, I'd love to know what your thoughts, feelings, and opinions are here. I wanted to update you with the new brands which have found themselves impacted by this, some of the workaround options, and answer some of the questions that you guys throw out on the back of that first video. If you've got any other questions, of course, let me know down in the comments, but also share your thoughts, feelings, and opinions. I hate to see quality products removed just because of outdated regulations. I think this is a real shame. And actually, nothing has changed other than the enforcement of those regulations, which have actually been around for, like I say, 26 years. I think it's time that the US authorities take a little closer look at exactly what they're doing and promoting when it comes to sunscreen, and acknowledge that there are some better, tried, tested, and proven filters out there on the market, because I think everyone, no matter where they happen to live in the world, should have access to good quality sunscreen. Hopefully that'll change, but in the meantime, just know there are some workarounds that hopefully I've been able to help you guys with today. Let me know your thoughts below, and wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and love your skin. Take care. Bye.